those who obviously been studying with me for a while should know what you know a bit more. For those who don't, most people think Zakat Al-Fitr, that's the only zakat you have to pay in the year. And I said in the khutbah today, no, the zakat on gold. If you got gold or silver, you've got zakat. If you've got business, you've got zakat. If you've got money saved up, you've got zakat. You've got zakat. But this, what we're talking about, this is something specific. Zakat Al-Fitr. Other than that, okay? Zakat Al-Fitr. It's called zakat. سميت بذلك كأنها تجب عند الفطر الناس. It's called. What does fitr mean? Zakat Al-Fitr. It is zakat. What does fitr mean? To break one's fast. So it's a zakah related to one's breaking one's fast. In other words, it's specific. Zakat al-Fitri is specific to Ramadan. Zakat al-Fitr. Why is it called Fitr? Because it becomes obligatory. It's wajib when people break their fast, when people يفطروا. عند فطر الناس من صوم رمضان. Zakat al-Fitri is wajib when people break their fast in Ramadan. It's called also the hadith, which I mentioned there in the khutbah, by Abu Dawud and Majah. Zakat al-Fitr طهرة للصائم من الرفث وطعمة للفقراء والمساكين. Zakat al-Fitr for the one who gives it is a purification. It purifies your fast from any mistakes, any defects in your fast. Okay? And it's food for the poor. Why do we give zakat al-fitr? Anybody know why? Those who were at the khutbah. Don't answer. Why? Okay, why is it specific to Ramadan? Or why is it specific to the Eid? What's so special about the Eid? You have to give it. Anybody know? At the back, women? Okay, men? Including those who had the khutbah? You may have the khutbah. That's Khalid's left. You are later.
Sorry?
Why? What's the significance on Eid, Zakat Fitr?
So everyone has food.
So everybody has food. The poor on the day of Eid. No point you in your house, mashallah, have a nice Eid, and your neighbours have nothing. So Zakat Al-Fitr is the zakah whereby it's for the day of Eid, so that people on the day of Eid, everyone has something. There's nobody that has nothing. There's nobody who's not enjoying Eid. There's nobody who has no food on the day of Eid. Everybody somewhere will have some food, irrespective. So Zakat Al-Fitr is us giving zakah to those people who are less fortunate, so on the day of Eid they've got something. Understand? طيب. It is wajib. Zakat al-Fitr is not sunnah. It's wajib, right? You've got to give it out. You have to give it out. Wajib. Okay? طيب. When is it? Zakat al-Fitr, when do you have to give it out? There's a time that it's wajib. You have to, at this time you've got to give it out. The Zakat al-Fitr, there's different times. There's the time when it becomes wajib, obligatory. There's a time when it becomes preferred. There's a time when it's permissible. There's a time when it's disliked, and there's a time when it's haram. But the first one, when is it obligatory to give out your zakat al-fitr? Okay. When a person, if a person reaches the day of Eid, okay, then zakat al-fitr is wajib. Okay. In other words, he was alive for the night of Maghrib, the night of the last night, or the first night of the month, he was alive. Okay. So when the sun sets on the last day, okay, he's alive. What? Okay, why? What does it mean alive? Because it excludes other people. Okay. Let's say a child is born on the night of Eid. Child is born on the night of Eid. Like the last day of Ramadan, there was no child. Is it wajib upon you, the father, to give zakah on that child? No. Why? Because it came into the world after Eid, after Ramadan. You understand? Anybody want me to repeat that again? We said that Zakat Al-Fitr becomes wajib when the person was alive before, was present before the Eid and after the Eid. Okay? Well, explain that in more detail. Let's say a child is born after Maghrib on the last day. The child is born after Maghrib on the last day. Was he alive before Maghrib last day? No. Is it wajib upon the father to give zakah? No. Why? He wasn't alive during Ramadan, and it did come into the world for the night of Eid. You're going to have the child going to be there before and after. Before and after. I'll give you another example. Let's say somebody before Maghrib he dies on the last day. Okay. Does the father, if it's a son, does the father have to give out Zakat Al-Fitr on that child who passed away? Passed away just before Maghrib? No. Why? Because it wasn't before and after. Before and after. Before Maghrib and after Maghrib. Are you there? That's what we need. Do you understand that? Okay. Let's say somebody becomes Muslim after Maghrib. He's mashallah. This Islam's good. And after Maghrib, everyone's hugging each other the first night of Eid. Does he have to pay Zakat Al-Fitr? No. Why not? He was alive there, present before. He wasn't a Muslim. Good. Alright. Let's say he was poor before Maghrib and then becomes rich after Maghrib. No, it happens. No. Let's say he never got paid. And before Maghrib he was, Zakat Al-Fitr wasn't binding on him. After Maghrib he gets paid now. Does he pay Zakat Al-Fitr? No. Because you've got to be, the conditions that you've got to be, have enough money that he needs, which we talk about, before and after. Interesting, yeah? Hang on. Let's say somebody passes away after Maghrib. Let's say he passes away after Isha. Hands up is a Zakat Al-Fitr on this person. Okay, good. Question. Let's say they got married on the night of Eid. Husband marries a wife on the night of Eid. Does he have to give Zakat Al-Fitr on himself, obviously, but do you have to give Zakat Al-Fitr on behalf of his wife? No? Yes, no? No. And similarly, if he divorced her before Maghrib? No. Why? Because he divorced her before Maghrib. She's no longer dependent on him financially. He's no longer obliged upon him, by and large. Alright, let's say he divorced her at Isha, night of Eid. You have to pay for it? Good. All these little things, people don't know. Okay. When is it preferred to give Zakat Al-Fitr? The preferred time is the day of Eid, after the Fajr's come in, before the Eid prayer. From Fajr to Eid prayer. It's better to give out. يوم العيد بعد طلوع الفجر وقبل صلاة العيد. Understand? From Fajr to Salat al-Eid. Think about it. Why? Women, I want to answer. Why is that the best time? Who's it best for? It's best for who? Come on. Who's it best for? Who are we giving the zakat to? So why is it better for the poor to have for the zakat to be given to them before the Eid Salah? Think about it. Yeah. Because you can buy what you need before. Coming to Salat al-Eid, yeah, I'm not seeing everybody with their new Eid clothes and they're like, oh, I'm going home, I've got nothing to eat. There's nothing, I've got nothing. They're coming to the Eid prayer like, okay, I've got something for Eid, so they're happy. It's how the Sharia works, you see. When is it permissible? Permissible. We've done when it's wajib, you've got to. We've done when it's the best time. But when is it permissible? From what time to what time? It's permissible. Anybody know? Women? Anybody know in the back? Anybody? How come you don't know this? No one's ever told you these things?
Is it after Eid prayer before sunset?
No, that's we just had that. Huh? No. What he said. From the beginning of Ramadan, literally on the first night of Ramadan, you can give your Zakat Al-Fitr out. You don't have to give it when the boxes are labelled. We did it in the last 10 days. You give it out in the beginning of Ramadan. Literally, you can send your Zakat Al-Fitr the first night of Ramadan, you can send it. Not before. Not before. Not before. On the first night, you can send it, you give your Zakat Al-Fitr, send it off. You go from the beginning of Ramadan to the end of Ramadan. Where is it makruh? What does makruh mean? At the back. What does makruh mean? Disliked. When is it disliked? It's not haram, it's disliked. It's disliked to delay it past the Eid prayer until the sun sets. It's makruh. تأخيرها عن صلاة العيد إلى غروب الشمس. It's makruh to delay it from after the Eid prayer till the sun sets. From Eid prayer to Maghrib, you're delaying it all the way till then, makruh. Except if there is a benefit. Like what? Like waiting for a poor person to appear. Someone's poor, he's coming. Wait till he comes. When's he coming? He's coming tonight. I'll wait. Or there's someone who needs it, but he's not here yet. He's coming later in the day. We can delay it. But, it's other than that, without those excuses, it's makruh. It's makruh. When is it haram to delay it? It's haram delaying it past the day of Eid, the next day. Except if there's an excuse. What's the excuse? Like we just mentioned, someone poor, it's coming, the poor. You're waiting to give it to someone who's righteous. Even someone who's righteous and poor. A poor, righteous person, you're going to wait to give it to him. Who is it wajib upon? Zakat al-Fitr wajib upon every Muslim who has enough money for the day of Eid and the night. Every Muslim, male or female, has enough money for themselves for the night and day of Eid. When is the first night of Eid?
After Maghrib.
Maghrib, yeah? And so basically, The night of Eid, the night comes before the day in the calendar, yeah? The night comes before the day. You have the night, so Maghrib, khalas, boom. Alright? Do you have enough food in the fridge for the night of Eid? Okay. What about the day, the day of Eid? Have you got enough money? You got enough food to eat? In that case, you've got Zakat Al-Fitr. You got to pay. You got enough food in your fridge, or you got access to food for the night of Eid and the day of Eid. That's what we need that one day. Do you have enough money? Are you able to buy? Let's see, okay, I've got nothing in the fridge. Have you got money to buy food for the day? Yes, I have. You guys Zakat Al-Fitr. Okay, but I'm in debt. Doesn't matter. What we need, you've got access to food for the day and night of Eid. Because we need to give it to those who have no food for the night and day of Eid. That's what we need to get it. So, if you have enough food or you have money for the day, for the night of Eid and the day of Eid, you've got to give zakah. If you don't, then you're deserving of zakah. So, irrespective if you were young or old, male or female, that's the condition. If you've got money for the day of Eid, night of Eid, and the thing is, most people do. The vast majority of people do, right? The other condition is that those people who are financially dependent upon you. So so if the husband, who is financially dependent on the husband? The wife and the child. Okay. Your father, you are financially dependent on your father. So your father one that gives that out on your behalf. You see. Or let's say you're financially independent yourself. Okay. In order for zakat to be binding on you, you've got to have enough money, okay, above that which your dependents need. Let's say, okay, you've got enough money for yourself and for your children for the day of Eid. Okay, you've got no Zakat Al-Fitr. There's no Zakat Al-Fitr on the person who only has enough money for himself and his children. Because the condition is that you got money more in excess of what you and your children and your wife and your family need. If you haven't, there's no zakat. If you have, you got money excess, you got more than what you and your family need, then you got Zakat Al-Fitr. Do you understand? Hey, will you not understand? Okay, good.
What is the...
You don't understand? Okay. Let's say you are financially independent. You got enough money for yourself, right? Okay. But let's say that the condition is that the money you have has to be excess more than what your family need. Let's say husband, yeah, husband or the father. Right? On the night, on the day of Eid, he's got enough money for himself and to look after his children, and he's got more. He's got more than he needs for the day and night of Eid. He's got enough money for himself and his children, and he's got more. That person's got zakah. Why? Because he's got more. Let's say he's only got enough money for himself and for his family. No zakat al-fitr on him. Because the condition, he has to have more than what he and those who are financially dependent need. Understand now?
You're talking about food, is it?
Yeah, food, yeah. طيب. Now, madhab al-Shafi'i. Okay. The hadith is very, very explicit that we have to give out food. We have to give out food. So either rice or wheat. The main food of that area, the area in which the poor live. Okay, it's like, for example, rice. Most people eat rice. Like in Yemen, what we would do, we'd give out rice. How much rice would we give out? 2.03 litres. 2.03 litres. How much? The back?
2.0.
Litres of rice. So when we were in Yemen, before Eid, there'd be a huge hall in Dar al-Muslim. We'd go. Yeah, there'd be a man here. We'd give him money. He'd take the money off us. He'd then give us a bag of rice. Quite a big bag of rice. We'd take the bag of rice to the next person. And the next person will have a piece of paper. And you say, read this. And it would say, you basically go reading out the intention for your zakat, because the intention is wajib. This, and you give him the bag, you say, read this. So you give him, goes, this is my Zakat Al-Fitr for Allah's sake. So you give it out, the zakat, and you give it to him, he puts it aside. Then he gives it out before the Eid. Okay? So Madhab Shafi'i, it's a bag of rice or wheat. The main staple food. Hanafi Madhab, it's money. And to be honest, money is probably better. You haven't got money, it's like £5. £5 per person. Otherwise, in Yemen, you have a bag of rice. A bag of rice for each person. So if there's 5 people in your family, that's 5 bags of rice. So they've got 5 bags of rice to eat. Okay, you've got food. They eat. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. And when you give out the zakah, you have to have a niyyah. When you're giving the zakah, this is my Zakat Al-Fitr. Like when you pray, or Salli Salat Al-Fajr, or Salli Salat Al-Isha, send me your zakah. You have a niyyah, Zakat Al-Fitr. When these charities take, like Interpal, if you're taking money, you can't mix the Zakat Al-Fitr with the charity, with sadaqah. Because Zakat Al-Fitr has to go to certain people. Charity can go to anybody. So when you get certain charities, when you give them, you don't give them money like that. Like sometimes people give money to give this money out to people. What is it first? I have to ask them, is it sadaqah, charity, or zakah? 2 different things. If it's zakah, certain people have to be given out to. If it's sadaqah, give it to anybody.
Is Zane here? Zane.
Zayd, la.
Zane.
La.
Mixed up with the name.
Inshallah. Understand? You understand? So, who can you give your zakat al-fitr to? Be careful, right? If you're going to give a zakat to charity, that you specify which one it is. This is my zakat al-fitr, or this is my zakah for my money. Why? Think about it. Why do you have to tell them? Specific. Why have you got to tell them this is my zakat al-fitr? Why do the charity need to know it's zakat al-fitr? Why can't you just give it to them? Alright, go to the right people. Anything else? The timing. If this is Zakat Al-Fitr, he knows he's going to give it out to certain people very quickly at a certain time. So Zakat Al-Fitr priority is going to get rid of it quickly. You can't delay it. Unless there's an excuse, the poor aren't there, or he's waiting for the poor, or the money is waiting, but there's a time limit. Understand? Right, who are the people who deserve zakah? You might be surprised at this. The first are what's called the poor. Who are the poor? Who are the poor? It's 8 categories, right? 8 categories. Who are the poor? The poor are those whom, let's say they need £1,000 a month to survive, and they get less than half. Less than half of what they need. What's less than half? What's half of 1,000? 500. What's less than half? 200. So they need £1,000 to survive. What do they get? Less than half. Less than 500. 100, 200, 300, 400. They are called faqir. Faqir. Okay? They deserve zakah. Who are they? Al-faqir, the poor. Who are the poor? Those who have less than half what they need. Do you understand? طيب. That's number 1. Number 2 is al-miskin. Number 2 is al-miskin. Who was al-miskin? Those who need 1,000, for example, but they get what's the best way to put it? They have more than half of what they need, but less than what they need. Okay, so let's say they need 1,000. How much they get? They get more than half though. More than half of what they need, but still less than what they need. They need 1,000 a month. But they get 600, 700, 800. Is it short? Yes. What do they need? 1,000. But it's not less than half. it's past that halfway mark, but still below the total of what they need. Do you understand? That is called al-miskin. Those who are short of money. Okay? And if you think about it, there may be some people who live here, who are in that category. Yes? They need 1,000 to survive, but they get more, but less than what they need. Do you understand? Is that possible for that person to exist amongst us? Yes. That person. So if you get people running around trying to give money to far off countries, there may be people who are here, who are in this category. They need 1,000 to survive, but they get more than half of what they need. But still less than what the total they need. Any questions on that? You understand that definition? طيب. Number 3, the zakah workers. Those who work in charities, they get zakah. Some people say, oh, we don't give zakah to this charity, that charity. Why? Because part of my zakah, 5%, 10%, 20%, 30% of my zakah goes to the charity. Well, Allah has given the zakat worker part of the zakah. Where is he? He's working or she's working full time. It's not doing it for free. You know, so how do they survive? It's a full job. They get part of the zakat, and that's it. Allah has given them zakah because they work for it, even the poor. Understand, right? Those who deserve zakah are not necessarily those who are poor. You could be rich and deserve zakah. Most people don't understand this. This is like, wow. Most people think they're just poor and rich, and the two categories just mentioned. No, there's other categories, and it's not a condition for you to be poor. You can be rich and still deserve zakah. People are surprised with all these type of things. Okay, but the 4th category are what's known as those whose hearts are to be reconciled. Those whose hearts are to be brought closer. And what do you mean by that? A person who became Muslim recently, and he's weak in his Islam. A convert, having difficulty, being kicked out of home. He's poor. He's deserving zakah. Converts can be deserving zakah. There's other categories, but that's probably the main common one. I know people, okay? I know people who, for their food, I had a picture what they had for the food. See if I can find it. That's all they had. To break their fast and eat for the day. Have a look. That's it. Try not to move the screen around, right? Just have a look. Try not to move the screen around. That's all they had. That's all they had to break their fast and eat for the day. After fasting best part of 18, 19 hours. That's all they had. Does it show you? Okay. Show it to the women in the back. If you have a look at it, what you see? A piece of bread? Cheese? Milk? Anything else? That's not to break their fast with. That's all they had to eat. That's nothing else, that's all they had. They had nothing else but that. To break their fast, that's all they can eat till Fajr. They got nothing. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, is that your way you're eating to break your fast? No, that's all I have. No dates. No dates. Wallahi, I am not joking. No dates. Okay? And the person will ask. The person will ask. Huh? Muslim, yeah, the fasting, remember that? Huh? No, they're born Muslim, but they haven't been practicing many years. Just came back. They've come back to the deen. Living away from home. They've been kicked out of home.
Is he in the UK?
Huh?
Is he in the UK?
In a Western country. It's affluent, not England. So these things happen. People are too busy. When you've got people like that close by, for example, quote unquote, and we're going far, far, far away, you've got people like that. I think this person has, for the next 3 weeks, 80. It's like £80. Just under 90 quid for 3 weeks. That's all they have. That's all they have for the next 3 weeks. For Eid, I said to them, would you have anything for Eid? Because no, don't worry about Eid. Don't worry about Eid. Any clothes for Eid? Don't worry about it. Any food, I've got food for I mean, most of us spend maybe more than 80 for Eid. Reality. Most of us probably spent more than 80 quid already. That's all this person has. So, anybody wants to help this type of person and there's others, then class, come and see me privately, inshallah.
But will he take it?
Huh?
Will that person take it?
I'll force them to. Because you see people like this, they don't. I'll force them to, inshallah. I'll make them take it. Also, number 5. Those slaves who want to purchase their freedom. Those slaves who want to purchase their freedom. In the beginning, they were slaves. Okay, and if somebody went to, if you were sold into slavery, alright? Some people are born into slavery. It's a whole story in itself, but let's you were sold as a slave to a slave master for X amount. And let's say you want to now buy your freedom. You go to your slave master and say, I want to buy how much is my freedom? You say 200 or 2,000, whatever. He gives you a price. Your freedom, if you give me X amount of money, you're free to go. The slave then can go, ask for zakah, providing he's Muslim. He's given zakah and gives the money to the slave master and he's free to go. Where sometimes it's not a good thing, because now he's got nowhere to go. He's got no house. He's got nowhere to live. Before he was living with the slave master. He's like, now what? He's got nowhere to go. But it may be better for him. He want to get out and he might have something ready, somewhere to go. So the slave can buy his freedom. The slave can buy his freedom. The next, what number are we on now? 6. Those in debt. This is very interesting. Those in debt. Those who've gone into debt for a good reason. Let's say, okay. Let's say that Hazim and Muhammad Hussein, these two are arguing. He is saying to him, you owe me 5 grand. He says, I owe nothing. One is saying, you owe me, and the other is saying, I owe nothing. They're about to go to fight with each other. Okay? Along comes our dear friend here, mashallah. He goes, no, look. Muhammad Hussein, how much does he owe you? 5? He goes, don't worry, I'll give it to you. Right? And he pays you 5. He's gone into debt. Has he not? Why is he going into debt? To sort out this problem between the two people. He now deserves zakah. We can now give him, he's deserving zakah, we give him zakah now. Why? Because you've sorted out a problem. The ulama say, scholars of Islam say, Even if he's rich, even if he's rich, we give him zakah because what he's done a good thing here. Even if he's rich. Now, if he's rich, he says, okay, I don't want zakah. That's okay. But it's our right to give it to him. Or, let's say he's gone into debt to give to money some charity, to build a mosque, for example. Okay, so he's gone into debt to pay for a school, or to pay for a charity, or to pay for a hospital, or to pay for a mosque. Okay, he is now giving zakah. Why? He's in debt, but in debt for a good reason. Let's say you're in debt because you got gambling debts. What's else? I've noticed now on the internet, a lot of advertising for gambling. In the past year, 2 years, heavy. Or you click on something and it leads you to something else. Like, what's that betting company called?
Too many.
It's too many. Even in the adverts, in between football games, advertising.
Like combat.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that. Recently, 2 years ago. Let's say I'm in debt. What for? I've made Toba. I don't like gambling debts. So look, get working. You don't get no zakah for your gambling debts. A lot of Muslims gamble. When I was in London a few years back, a particular Arab country, which shall be renamed anonymous, from a Gulf state. On the corner was a national bank, and around the corner was a casino. And the rumour was like, they was connected. The bank and the casino connected. I saw on the news that a lot of rich Gulf Arabs, they come to London, have gambling debts. Have a lot of gambling, start gambling away. They can't gamble in their country, so they come here. Interesting, someone told me this. Chinese have to gamble more. Is that true? Why is it? Someone told me it was, you always, in a casino, you always find Chinese. I'm not being racist, right? Someone told me that. So Chinese have a strong connection to gambling.
They gamble everything. For example,
they're Malay, not Chinese, right? But I was told by somebody who wasn't Chinese, but gambles quite heavily. Chinese like to gamble a lot. Why? It's not haram for them, is it?
No.
Not halal for them. Culture?
Yeah, the same way.
And they believe in bad luck, good luck. They believe strong in that.
Superstitions.
Yeah, so they believe in you get good luck. If you got this dice, you have a good luck. Then very strong.
Chinese gamble a lot, apparently. And Arabs. Arabs, they're greedy, and Chinese have superstition. Chinese have shirk, and Arabs have greed. That's okay, let's say he's gone into debt. He's gone into debt for his family. He's borrowed money for his family. Of his children, he deserves zakah. Interesting, right? All these little sub-categories. من استدان لصرفه على نفسه or let's say he's got into debt for himself. He's got into debt for himself, to eat and drink for himself. He's borrowed money. He deserves zakah. He deserves zakah. طيب. Next category are those who are fighting for the sake of Allah. Those who are on jihad. And are not part of any regular army. Not part of any regular army. Because if they're part of a regular army, they'd have money. But these are volunteers. Because they can. And the last category of person are those travellers in need of money. Those are travelling. And let's say he's travelling through the land. He's travelling when he lost his money or run out of money. Where's he going to stay? He's got nowhere to stay. I've run out of money. In the past, that was quite heavy. You're in a foreign land and your money gets stolen. Or you run out of money. Your country is 4 months away. What are you going to do? You give him zakat to your home. Okay? Any questions on that? That's Zakat Al-Fitr. And who you give it to. So look around. You may find people around you who are deserving of zakat.
Yeah, you know when you want to give zakat to someone, do you have to like analyze it? Like,
You got to analyze the person.
yeah.
You got to make sure.
Like if you see someone pull outside the mosque, for example, you want to give them.
Ah,
You see what I'm saying? Because they used to do that a lot back home. Like after.
you got to make sure. You got to make sure. A person who is a relative and poor deserves your zakat more than somebody who is not a relative and poor. Those who are poor and a relative deserve your zakat.
You know the 8 lists that you gave?
8 categories, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Are they in order of importance?
No. Not necessarily.
If someone's independent but they're living with their parents, should the parents pay for them or should they pay themselves?
That's something I've been meaning to look at. I would ask the parents, are they giving zakat on behalf? Okay, what it says if the son is old enough and he's working. Let me read it out. لا تجزي الزكاة عن ابن ذي. It's not obligatory on the father to give zakah on his son who is no longer dependent on him financially. He's working now. He's got his own family. Does he have to give zakah for his son who's working on his own family? No. Why? Because he's working. He's adult and he's working. You know. But let's say the father gave zakah on behalf of his son. Doesn't count. Except if the father asked the son's permission. Son, I'm going to give zakah on your behalf. Can I do that? If he says yes, okay. If he says no, he can't. If he didn't ask permission and gave it out, it doesn't count. As for a young child, below the age of puberty, male or female, or his wife, or those who are dependent on him, his children and so forth, even a father, even your father, if he's dependent upon you, then it's not a condition for you to get their permission. Does the husband need to get his wife's permission to give Zakat Al-Fitr? No. Why? Because she's dependent on him. Does he need to ask his children, can I have your permission to give Zakat Al-Fitr out? No. Why? Because it's dependent upon him. But he does need to get permission if his children are financially independent. But they mention it in the context of a male. But I assume the female will be the same. So basically, yes. Ask your